Dr. Tony Evans has been caught in controversy because of old sin. And since he has stepped down as senior pastor of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, he has remained radio silent on social media up until recently. You don't want to miss this video.
Now click that like button and that bell notification so you'll be notified every time we put out a new video while you prepare yourself for this video clip. And I'll come back with some commentary. Let's go.
Dr. Tony Evans, former pastor of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. Now we all know he had to step down because of old sin. He issued a public statement. Once again, I'm going to say this was a public statement about this old sin and what had happened. And it was bad enough, based on him having to step down. This was bad enough that he had to step down. So it's that question of whether or not this sin should be specified or should we just let it go? And so since this has come out, this has been a big divide between two thoughts. There's one thought, which is he shouldn't tell what the sin was. And then there's another thought, he should tell what the sin was. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you, is that I believe that he should tell what the sin was because he came public with a statement about old sin. That's only telling half the story. And if you're going to go public with that about old sin, then you need to go public with the specificity of that old sin. That's just my opinion. That's just rock lead singer's opinion. And this channel's opinion is because if it were really between you and God, like many people say, then why go public? You should have stayed between you and God. What happened is that you offered an opportunity for the public to speculate because you only told half the story. Now, my other thought is, if this sin was bad enough for you to have to step down, I really want to know what the sin was. Because clearly it was bad enough to where, I don't know, the church may be covering itself, or I just don't know. It may be some lawsuits in the work or different things of that nature. And I know that there are media outlets, credible media outlets that are digging too. They want to know what the old sin is. Now, what happens is that in this video, we're actually going to talk about how bad this is, but we also notice that Dr. Tony Evans has posted again on his social media. He's went back to talking on social media. Now, he's been radio silence for a long time. And on this, on his Instagram, he actually put out a post, and we're going to go over that post. Now, he posted here recently, I asked that, and it's from Ephesians 3:16, which he only posted the Bible, which that's wisdom. But we're going to talk about the post, and then we're going to go through these comments, because these comments, wow, people, they going to say what's on their mind. And I believe that this may be Tony Evans' way of testing the water to see how heavy this is and how long he need to wait before he do anything else. But we're going to look at this post. So he put out a post, Ephesians 3:16, and it says, I ask that he will strengthen you in your inner selves from the greatness of his glory through the Spirit. Great post. Absolutely great post. Now, I want to look over here at what Sharon B said, one of the comments that's here, Karen B, and I'm using this comment because it has the most responses to it. And Sharon B said, I believe she said, I believe his, and I'm saying I'm not sure, but Sharon says, I believe his congregation has the right to know the specifics of the sin. Now, there were a lot of people that went back to that between him and God and different things of that nature. There was a person here, hand 7379 says, God doesn't remember, consider some grace as he ministers to Tony. God does not need any of us to do one thing. He wants our obedience. Let is be obedience, and I just believe that's a typo there, and offer grace and mercy. We all have times of suffering, struggles, and trials. The congregation needs to help with the endurance, rather. These struggles belong to him. Now, that is a perspective there. That is a perspective, but that's more of this is between him and God. That's more of that thing. And the only reason people do that is because they love him. Tony Evans is a very lovable person. This man don't come after people, as far as I know. He stays away from controversy. And, people love him. They actually want him to come back. This is like one of the good ones fell into something. But what's keeping people at that perspective is they don't know the level of sin. All right. So the next person's commented, and this is what I really, really want to get to right here from Eat 'em Up. And I'm thinking that's Eat 'em Up 1014. Y'all forgive me because people typing these names are a little different, but we're going to go through it. But I like what they said. They said, FYI, for your information, Pastor Evans and the pastors, I believe is the word there, staff at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship have called out deacons and prominent staff members when they fall from grace and shared their specific sin to the congregation and ousted them from the church for not repenting. Given this practice, why shouldn't the congregation know of a sin from years ago that has gone unrepented for years, but now seen as something that needs to be suddenly addressed with such priority that the church board required him to step down? I am speaking to accountability as the shepherd of vast national and even world flock. At the same token, we shouldn't hold any man as God and expect any more from him than we expect of any other. He is a mere man. It's painful, and I'm just going through these words, to see this happen. But he who has not sinned, please cast the first stone. Now, I do like that right there. Now, that calls into question what is the actual practice of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship when it comes to others with sin? Are they calling out the specific sin? And if so, why isn't Tony Evans having to call out that same level of sin if they have ousted people? And I really would like to know if Eat 'em Up 1014 is an actual member of that church there, because if that's the practice, I wish someone from Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship who's been a long time member and have seen this practice in action of how they deal with sin from leadership, and if that leadership sin is called out specifically. I'm talking about to the specificity of what the sin was. If that is a practice of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, then Dr. Tony Evans should not be exempt from calling out that level of sin within his own life. The leadership should expect that of him. As their leader, they should expect that of him. Now, it begs the question, if this is not being called out, how bad is this sin? If they're not talking about it, how bad is it? And I believe that because they're not calling it out, this is really bad. This is really bad, because why not call it out? Why is this sin not called out? Why is this not called out? That's the real question. And how bad is it? And just from me looking at it, I believe that this is bad. This is bad. It's real bad. But I'm glad to see that Dr. Tony Evans is back to posting on social media. And I'm glad to see that he is using wisdom when posting on social media. But I believe that it's going to be some time. And I do pray that God does some healing. I do pray that there's some restoration in that regard for Dr. Tony Evans, because he as a man is not exempt from sin. And he has to be accountable. He has to be accountable to God. But I believe that if there is anyone who's watching this video who knows of any instances where leadership who was found in sin, the specifics of their sin was called out, or that is the practice of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, then I would love for you to comment or reach out to me at socialfire.org. Reach out to me and let me know. Even give me the specifics of the person and what the sin was. I'd like to know, because ultimately, this is hypocritical if you are expecting people to be subject to one thing, and Dr. Tony Evans, who's the leader there, the founder and leader, does not have to come subject to that same level of integrity. I just believe that is not fair. That is bad. That is bad to be one way, want people to be one way, but when it comes to you and your faults, you are not that way. And for the board to allow it, what do we say about their integrity if they're allowing it? And I believe this is bad. This is bad. And the longer, I think they just trying to really wait it out. They just trying to wait it out because, the church, I don't know how long they're going to be able to go without the strength of a Tony Evans. Now, just being honest, because most people are there because of Tony Evans. I know you want to say that the church is all that. I'm quite sure you believe that, but it's personality driven. The reason people feel a certain way about Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship is because of Dr. Tony Evans. But I want to know ultimately, what do you think about this? Because this is something that needs to be talked about. You know, people are they're caught between two things. Those who feel like he shouldn't tell what the sin was because they believe that it's between him and God. And then those who believe he should tell what the sin was, even believe that he owes that level of accountability to the people that he shepherds, not just nationally, but worldwide. I believe that if he wanted to keep that between him and God, he shouldn't have went public with it. He should have just stayed between him and God. But you offered a level of explanation to people, but you didn't tell the whole story. And because you didn't tell the whole story, what's happening is people are drawing their own conclusions. And people like me are wondering, what is so bad that you're not telling people what you did? It's like a child that's only telling half the story. You got to know as a parent, you done did something else. You done did something else. And Dr. Evans, if you know scripturally, if you're not telling, if you're only telling part of it, that's not, okay, I'm not going to go fully there, because if you're not telling part of it, then there's the other part that's offering a level of problem because people don't know. So I want to know ultimately, what do you think about this? Because this is bad. I want to know. Jump in the comments and let me know what you think about what Dr. Tony Evans had to say in his posting. Let's go.